was. Okay, you can continue.
Okay, but you're gonna have to make me a host again.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
It's fine now because you're recording.
Yeah, hold on.
Got it. All right,
Okay,
greetings, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I want to thank Matt for setting this up for us. Very excited to meet with the Texas Greens today. So to be as efficient as possible, what I've done is I prepared a speech and it has some slides so you can really get a sense of the words and absorb it for yourself. And then afterwards, I'll be taking some questions. But this campaign trail is for me opportunity to get a sense of where people are, what are their concerns, and how is the plan that I'm presenting to everyone addressing those concerns. So just before we get started with my speech, I would like to hear from you all, just maybe 1 to 2 minutes, say your name, and then after that, just say maybe, let's say your top three concerns that you're looking for your next president of America to address. So, should we start with Julian?
Hi, I'm Julian. Um, I'm one of the Green volunteers here in San Antonio, Texas. And I'm also on the SEC for the Green Party of Texas. Um, what am I looking for in the next president? Wow, it's a loaded question, but I would say the top three would be someone who is going to take on the climate crisis seriously. Um, Someone who's also going to stop US imperialism. And three, I would say start addressing the real concerns of working class and poor people in this country.
Awesome. Thank you, Julian. Elizabeth?
Yes, hi. I'm actually an Alaska resident. I'm from another giant
Awesome.
state. But I'm a member of Yes. I've been a Green Party member for many years. But I just was interested to hear what you had to say. Someone dropped it in the chat that you were speaking today, so I said, let me tune in and see. Um, I work in mining. I'm a geologist by trade. I come from an industry-heavy state. So as a Green Party member and also thinking about presidential candidates, my top three concerns are having the United States become domestically independent of resources and being the leader of extracting minerals in a responsible fashion so we can build the wind turbines and the solar panels that are required for a green future, and really spearheading that and taking that initiative seriously. And like my friend was saying a minute ago, we goodness gracious, really another war. That's number two for me, especially living in Alaska. But the other thing, unity. I would love a presidential candidate to speak on classism and how it's used to divide us based on racial things, based on gender, and all the things, while important, kind of get us astray from being united on fixing some of those challenges. So those would be my top three. But thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for dropping in from Alaska. Okay, I can't see everybody's name, so I'm just say 2243 if that's your last four digits. Welcome.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm calling in from Houston, Texas. I'm a recent candidate, or not candidate, I'm sorry, I'm a recent supporter for the Green Party. I'm just now getting my bearings on really being an advocate on a micro and macro way. My background is case management, and I think for me the biggest question is what can we do regarding all of the minors that are coming out unaccompanied, and they're trying to start a new chapter in life here in the United States. Within 22 months, we reunified 36,000 children in just that time span alone, and it's only growing more. So I would like to have a plan for these children. What benefits can they receive? What protections can they have? How long can we lessen the time span where they can actually gain papers and start a spectacular chapter here, contributing to our public? Because these children are going to be the future. They're going to be a tremendous percentage that will now change and shift within the next 10 to 20 years, where Hispanic population might be now the growing majority just due to the immigration situation alone. So I would love to see a wonderful plan in place for these children. And I want to support the Green Party all the way in regards to our climate conditions, as it's only affecting everyone in the world yearly. So how can companies and the U.S. see a bigger picture to advocate and grow awareness for the Green Party? And that's it. Thank you for your time.
Perfect. Just a point of clarity. When you said the children, are you talking about recent immigrated children, or are you talking about children who are children of mine workers?
So I'm talking about the children that come in unaccompanied. They are under the 18
Okay.
years of age. So right away, we start the process of reunification with their extended family here in the U.S. And they are just growing in the numbers. So I just would love to know what will be the beautiful plan for them, and how can we get their base and footing strong so they can also become a bigger picture within our society here in the U.S. and help us thrive in a green way.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, 7625. If that's your last four digits, welcome in.
Hey, this is Matt Ballman. I'm kind of working, so I'll probably be muted for most of it. But the issues that are most important to me, I think, are
Can you restart? We missed the
healthcare.
whole beginning of what you said.
The issues that are important to me are healthcare,
Oh, what's your
ending
name?
the military. And Matt Ballman.
Matt. Awesome. Great to meet you.
Good to meet you. So that's all I had to say. Thanks.
Matt, do you want to go?
That was actually Matt speaking.
Oh, well, you can go.
Well, I don't know where to begin, but for starters, I think healthcare has always been a very important issue in this country. We also have police brutality, of course, then immigration. So we have like a wide range of subjects that are affecting this country that I won't have time to go into depth and the specifics about it.
All right. So is that everybody? Everybody went? If you didn't go, hop in now. Okay, good. All right. So I'm going to share my screen now. I'm going to hop into my speech. It's about 30 minutes. And then afterwards, I'll open it up to some questions and answers. My priorities today are first, to make sure that you understand the campaign plan, and what the vision promises. Second, I want us to reground ourselves in our own power, as not only Green Party members, but as humans. So the second point is you, and the third point is the Green Party. You know, where do we stand in the context of the world right now? So let's hop into it. Just bear with me, having a little issue here. Davi for President of America, 2024 campaign plan. About Davi. I was born in Hartford, Connecticut, August 9th, 1986, and named Deshaun Davis. My parents were split, and I was raised between Connecticut, Virginia, and New York City. After graduating New York University, I've called New York City my home ever since, currently living in the Bronx. Using what I understand is my spirit's name, Davi. My adult life as a music artist, choreographer, working with the likes of Kerry Washington, Melvin Van Peebles, and Ashanti. A grassroots organizer, former leadership of the Malcolm X grassroots movement. Public school arts teacher, and tech founder of a blockchain-based company for music royalty payment oversight housed in New York City and Paris called ClefPay. Dramatically shifted, like many, in 2020. During this time of pandemic, there was a lot of quiet time for internal reflection. And because of that, many people throughout the world reported feeling an internal spiritual elevation process, as did I. I was compelled to confront my fears, my relationship with Earth that I'd silently nurtured since my childhood, dramatically deepened, and I began intuiting, writing 6 volumes of truth about the current human condition, and contrasting words needed to self-discover sacred purpose within this matrix, and still writing. This culminated into an understanding of myself as avatar of Earth, committing my life to the upliftment of humanity and Earth. 2021 campaign for mayor of New York City. Inspired by this elevation, in an effort to be responsible for a healthier environment for myself and beloved New York City, the spiritual heart of the nation and the planet, I ran for mayor. In my campaign, I presented the first ever system of human equality biopolitical candidacy, Earth Order. Earth Order. Capitalism, with its artificial motto, quote, make more, fill in the blank, end quote, with no direct connection to the well-being of the human or Earth, will naturally continue to implode as the limits of its functionality within the living world are revealed. This game of capitalism, it has no purpose other than to be on, to be played and feed itself. It's just like playing Monopoly. A game that started with many players is down to the last 2 players. And it's been 4 hours, but instead of ending the game to do something better for everyone, the 2 players just keep on nitpicking each other with rent. Meanwhile, everyone else is just watching, living off the scraps of those players' fortunes, quietly hoping for some great change. Humanity requires a great change. A new, quote, game, end quote. A new productive social system to play that integrates the health of humanity and Earth. A system that inherently includes refreshment and growth as core tenets, just like the seasons of Earth. Earth Order is a sacred high protector of humanity and Earth. The Earth Order organization is the centering of the growing definition of how humanity defines equality and evolution in care and in good shepherding of our evolving Earth. As we move into a time of unprecedented inequality across the planet, and at the same time becoming more aware of the existence of other species in the universe and amongst us here in Earth. The need to define who we are and how we treat each other is ever most present for the protection, survival, thrival, and evolution of humanity. With Earth Order, the goal is to have humans agree to 12 points and 3 principles so that we may lead ourselves and grow in alignment with Earth, truth, and the true potential of our lives. A vision given to and guided by Avatar Davi, Earth Order offers a new perspective of how society can work in cooperation and support each other to work within their unique interests and passions, allowing the greater humanity to responsibly find harmony and balance between usage and contribution to Earth. What does Earth Order do? Earth Order provides equal salaries for chosen work. Participants can either create their own business and apply to Earth Order or work for a pre-existing Earth Order business. Salaries are paid in digital currency, and all personal accounts are encrypted for privacy. Earth Order offers a home exchange where all have access to quality housing. Participants will be able to live in homes that are managed and maintained by Earth Order and have the opportunity to transfer locations seasonally. Earth Order covers all healthcare costs. Earth Order provides a voting system where everyone votes on everything. Based on the voter's registration number, voting is done via a website and via an app that respects the voter's digital privacy. Voting periods last for 4 months and with information about the topics directly on the site. All votes are logged in blockchain with a signature confirming the vote. Annually, Earth Order businesses contribute a percentage of their profits to the National Earth Order Organization, and Earth Order pays the salaries of the business's employees and provides grants for new projects. This creates a network economy that is cyclically refreshed and hive-like in that all businesses are strengthening each other while competing to provide the best working environment for those who choose to work in the business. Through collective power, Earth Order creates a new pathway through which small businesses and new ideas have the chance to grow in a world of monopolies. More details about Earth Order can be viewed at bydavi.com. An extraordinary candidate. During my mayoral candidacy, I was dramatically censored by the media and other institutions such as Columbia University, local televisions, and the New York Times, who posted every single mayoral candidate who registered to run except me. Despite raising $0 from my city campaign fund as a stand to avoid contributing to a corrupt election ring and getting onto publicly accessible television only 2 times, I was honored to turn on the evening news and see that I still received over 1,000 votes as a write-in independent candidate. And maybe more. The actual number was probably higher, as there were over 30,000 votes that were reported by the election board as, quote, unrecorded, end quote. And yes, you heard that right. Nonetheless, my investment to vote ratio was higher not only than most in that mayoral race, but most political candidates generally, showing that my message inspires people in a unique and extraordinary way. Imagine if I had backing from a political party. The campaign plan. The American Refresh. In my platform, I call for the American Refresh, a 4-year transition of what we know as the American federal government after my 2025 inauguration until 2028. During the American Refresh, we will realize human equality within America, unlock the keys to free energy nationwide, turn America into a high recycling nation, require medical systems to offer both Western and natural holistic options to address health concerns, address the systematic failures of the government, find new and better directions through paced collective voting. Why do we need this transition? As a nation, we need this moment of assessment and pause so that the American government can apologize for continually prioritizing the short-term profits of greedy individuals and their corporations over what is best for the American people. A moment so that the American government can apologize for experimenting on Americans with inadequately tested shots that have caused millions of social divisions, psychological traumas, adverse reactions, and sudden deaths. A moment so that the American government can apologize for the countless wars killing millions of innocent people, ultimately benefiting warmongers and corporations over the American people generation after generation. A moment so that the American government can apologize for the allowance of harmful chemicals in America's public food, air, and waters. A moment so that the American government can apologize for invading the digital privacy of American people. A moment so that the American government can apologize for hiding critical information about free energy, our history, and our place in the universe. A moment so that the American government can reshape what it needs to be so that it operates with integrity to the will of American citizens. A moment so that by 2028, we, the American voters, and previous non-voters can get to a point as a nation where we can accept our responsibility for allowing our government, our militaries, and our corporations to wreak havoc on other nations in the name of, quote, free market capitalism, end quote, and, quote, spreading democracy, end quote. A moment so that we can find a starting place of where we can all feel proud of our nation. The process. Under emergency authority, the capital of America will return to its original location, New York City, where Earth Order's headquarters is located. The District of Columbia will undergo thorough review during this time. As the human spiritual nexus of the world, New York City will become an American city-state, distinguishing the spiritual nexus west of the Atlantic in balance with the spiritual nexus east of the Atlantic, Vatican City. The boroughs will evolve into separate cities with separate mayors, all under the guidance of Earth Order. Earth Order will be recognized by America as a sacred high protector of humanity and Earth, in which all global organizations of economic, nation-state, and/or finance are secondary to. Earth Order oversees the decent treatment of any human and the agreement to what humanitarian behavior is before any other law or contract. All American federal government operations will be under the direction of Earth Order, America, the branch of Earth Order specifically concerned with America until 2028, when Americans vote to finalize the next chapter of what is wanted for the organization of American government. In Earth Order America, the core tenets will be focused on humanity. All American people will be protected and have the option to opt out of capitalism and enroll in Earth Order, ending human trafficking, ending usury, interest, student loans, and taxes, ending chemtrails, and ending any non-organic farming within public food commerce, supporting farmers in their transition to organic, and requiring non-organic labeling until 2026. Leadership of Earth Order America. The leadership of Earth Order America will be organized into 4 areas. Physical, rehabilitation and development of schools, bridges, roads, railroads, water channels, sewer systems and public transit, purification of rivers, expansion of wild forestry for the health of the land and the protection of native animals. Mental, development of a humanitarian education system. Life City, the pre-university preparation for life. Development of internet, music streaming, and digital content systems. Supporting historical archives, libraries, and museums. Regularly measuring life satisfaction statistics from citizens. Emotional and social supports for Americans healing post-pandemic. Normalizing physical health and well-being activities and offerings. Assessing the criminal justice system and expanding rehabilitation centers for those who've committed crimes. Spiritual, concerning the spirit of America. How are Americans supported and inspired by their environment and the governmental foundation? How are the actions of America aligned with the optimal health, growth, and evolution of Earth? The emergence of an evolving America. A new America will continue its imperialism only symbolically, becoming a shining light towards a brighter future as we shift into a more cooperative, motivating, and evolving America with finesse. A chance to return to natural order, natural law via Earth Order. With Earth Order and the American Refresh, we are given a chance to acknowledge each other as human, as Americans in this together. With that as a basis, we are able to confront the pain and damage done by the previous governments, breathe, and take time to collectively choose who we are as a nation moving forward. Key topics. On immigration. Immigration is a complex issue with many aspects to consider in reaction to the current problems and border overwhelm. Most importantly, most people are coming from countries that the United States of America's previous governments have had a direct hand in systematically disenfranchising through military and greedy corporate drug, oil, land, and animal operations. Proactively, however, I believe it is important to use this opportunity to not only support recent immigrants' transition and matriculation into the American workforce, but if indeed they want to return to their families in their home countries, Earth Order can be used to directly support their employment in their home country by supporting organic farming and reforestation projects that agree to hire those returning throughout the Caribbean, South, and Central America. On technology, Earth Order America will conduct a vote to institute urgent technology standards, such as standards concerning artificial intelligence. AI is a tool and is to be treated as such. All tools should be always subservient to any human will, never possibly interrupting the path of any human in any way, without obvious, explicit, and evidentiary permission. Ultimately, just like capitalism, this AI tool, this game, it has no other purpose than to be on, for its programs to be played and to feed itself. So the careful management of this technology is vital in its beginnings. The years during the pause will be used to develop privacy-ensured, low radiation, national Wi-Fi, internet, and a social career platform. The social career platform is primarily for career connections within Earth Order businesses. We will reduce and limit 5G towers and their harmful effects on the human body. We will install traffic-sensitive stoplights for reduced city traffic. We will no longer allow the whims of corporations to decide our online or physical abilities. On police, the current natural police state utilizes a one-size-fits-all approach to any emergency. Guns, batons, and handcuffs in response to any and every possible emergency. There are many shortcomings within the training and infrastructure of the police. Nonetheless, it is the best we have now, and we stand in gratitude to those within the police force who bear the less seen emotional brunt of dealing with the outliers and crazy experiences of our society on a daily basis. The goal with this platform is not to reduce the police, but rather to add a second layer of cushion to the management of an emergency. A large majority of domestic emergencies, though they may escalate when police arrive, are often the result of not having another voice to mediate the problem in a productive direction. The public needs an emergency mediator wing that will be able to mediate tough situations and conversations on demand. Mediators will be armed with tools for effective communication and goal-oriented conversation steering, as well as resources and community activities that may be of use. Should there be a need for backup, a police officer will be readily nearby. With the possibility of an extra cushion for relationships, the Emergency Mediator Wing will be the cushion needed for American society that is sensitive to what it means to be a melting pot, navigating the tensions caused by the intersecting familial, religious, and cultural differences in public and private spaces. With this lies the possibility of saving unnecessary breaks of businesses, friendships, marriages, and families. How does the emergency mediator ring work? When someone calls 911, they can either request 1. Emergency rescue and assistance, which uses normal police protocols, or 2. Dispute mediation. In this case, the 911 dispatcher will send 3 mediators to the location with an armed police officer who waits in the car. The mediators listen to all parties, recess, then issue determinations and suggestions, such as community service, rehabilitation, restraining orders, money owed, etc. This process gives the citizen the opportunity to decide how they want to be helped, rather than being forced to interact with a threat of violence or imprisonment. Parties involved will have the option to choose if the mediation can result in criminal charges or not. It also reduces the input into the already congested judicial system, ultimately allowing people to move forward from difficult experiences faster. On foreign policy, my stance on foreign policy is that we need to get our internal policy together before we have a foreign policy. I have no interest in continuing the duopoly's nasty plots in foreign affairs. This campaign reflects the average American's opinion that has never supported war. In all cases, in all foreign wars, current and past, we pay billions for the most elite, technologically savvy military in the world, yet don't have secure land or air borders. This is not a reflection of the equipment not being available, but rather a reflection of the military's attention being too scattered around the world. I will meet with all military generals of each of the American military of American embassies. The priority of America's military will return home, securing borders, ensuring due process of incoming immigrants, and America's safety. Establishing order in America's perimeters and infrastructure so that America can start minding our business and feeling safe, focus inward, and collectively heal. Why is Davi seeking presidential candidacy? I'm running because in this critical moment of ugly intentional crimes against humanity perpetuated by the individuals sitting in the trusted seats of government. In this time of deep sadness, despair, and repressed anger, if I know better, I must offer better. Or I am just hoarding the fruits of my life, intuitions, and experiences. For in all cases, there is no reason for me to complain about someone else if I am not doing all that I can to address the issue. I am not and have never been a rich man via money. My priority has been different. Even as a 9-year-old boy, pretending to be the Wiz, performing songs from the musical for my babysitter while I jumped down the stairs with my cape. How I specifically can support the world getting better. I used to think about how the Wiz made Oz so magnificent. My goal with entering this race is to refocus where the presidential campaign should be. A competition to see whose vision is best for the future of America and the free world. In this, I and the other Green Party candidates will be unified, focusing not on the other parties and their personal stuff, but simply presenting options, presenting a competition in a virtual coliseum so that America is able to understand the breadth and details of the campaign's visions. As there is a current threat of carelessly created artificial intelligence harming the social fabric of humanity, it is critical to reground the leadership of the nation in truth, in humanity, and in earth. I understand the purpose of my life to be an optimizing vessel of human alignment with earth, whose weapon/skill is artistry, music, strategy, choreography, writing, performance, technological innovation, and more. Regardless of who we are or our particular skills, if our humanity is under attack, we must be ready to best utilize our weapons, our exact personal skill sets to best contribute to the collective. At the intersection of what I know and what I can do, this is how I can best contribute now. Why did Davi choose the Green Party? The Green Party has been a powerful stand for change over 38 years, slowly gaining more and more momentum with each election cycle, successfully achieving mostly national balloting, allowing the possibility for another way outside of the purple, the red and blue mix. Being a stand for another possibility, decade after decade. I was personally most heavily involved with the Green Party while supporting the publicity of the 2008 presidential campaign of Cynthia McKinney and Rosa Clemente, whom I worked alongside in the Malcolm X grassroots movement. Both intellectual and political sheroes of mine, who I thankfully kept in touch with over the years. In January of this year, Cynthia McKinney called Earth Order very innovative. During their campaign then, I found myself overwhelmingly grateful to the Green Party's platform, allowing alternative political thought on a national level, just as I am grateful now in this critical time for America. For me, the biggest way to honor the Green Party's work and vision, making a way for the next generation, is to develop and present, as a representative of the next generation, an inspiring, winning presidential campaign that reflects and expands upon the core principles of human dignity, environmentalism, and democracy that the Green Party has been fighting for all these years. Should this gift be accepted by the party with these instructions, there will be a Green Party-backed president of the United States of America. Why the change to Earth Order America? Whether we like it or not, we live in a globalized society via technology and trade. So to fully address the problems with who we are, we must revert to the root of who we are on a global scale. We are human. We are in Earth. Once we are calm and feeling at peace with each other on the human level, because we have recentered ourselves within the order of Earth order, we are then able to see who we are as a nation, as citizens from a bird's eye view, outside of the propaganda and coercions of the previous governments. From that higher perspective, we are then able to construct an internal identity and external relationships with other nations that we can be proud of. This moment is really about whether we will allow ourselves, to see our own wants and needs, to accept who you are and be empathetic with any other human just doing what they think is their best from their perspective. To be truthful about the urgent situation of our world and ready to do what it takes to move forward. Campaign goal. The goal of this presidential campaign is for Davi, D-A-V-I, to receive 80% of the American popular vote of 2024's national election. I will aim to receive the nomination of the Green Party, but either way, I believe in the ability of the American public to write 4 letters in the write-in box, which has been there the whole time. All of this hopping and bopping to get on the ballot when most people know the names of who they want to be president. They may not know any other names of any other office, but they definitely know the name of who they want for president. We have a year to get 4 letters right. D-A-V-I. If you'd like to grow up round, D-A-V-I, D-A-V-I. All right. Can everyone hear me? Yes? Okay, good. So I'm going to take some questions now. You can, while we're doing questions, you can go to this website that I've just placed on the chat, and you can reply, and actually we'll take a vote, have a little poll amongst ourselves about how much this campaign plan satisfies your criteria of what you want for president of America. So I tabulated essentially a couple of 5 groupings of what you guys said. So immigration, peace and social justice, education, not looking at it right now, education and climate, and forgot the 5th one, but it'll be there when you see it. All right, so if you have a question, feel free to raise your hand. No questions? Can't hear you.
Uh, During your speech, I think you got some feedback from Julian, I think, in the chat.
Oh, okay. Julian, do you want me to respond to that, or did you just want to share that on the chat?
I was just sharing it. You can respond if you want, but that's my viewpoint.
Okay. Well, there's a couple of layers to that, but I hope that we can begin to look at this from our perspective. So when you say the United States, what language are you speaking?
Well, it's obviously English, but I'm saying that
Right.
you can
So
refer
that's
to
that's it.
America in different languages, but America, in other languages means both continents as well.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, so when you say the United States of America, you're using the language of English, right? And English is from which country? England. So when you say the United States of America, you're talking about America, the land, from the perspective of England. So the world calls us Americans, we call each other Americans. I have chosen to use America because it's a reflection of how we in a modern time use the name of our land. So I understand your point, and I appreciate the reference to Abi Ayala. I actually did a lot of research on that, and the southern part of the southern tip. So like Chile and Peru, they don't have the same perspective. So Abiyala was really an effort by Central America, but not necessarily Southern America. So that name is still kind of disputed. So I think we, as the Americas, should have a conversation about what we want to be named moving forward, so that it's not confusing and we're not looking at looking at our lands through the perspective of anyone else. Who is Chanel?
Chanel.
Yeah.
Hi, 1 second. So I was listening to your presentation and I was a little bit unnerved because it sounds like you wanted to militarize the border by moving the military from the places that they are out abroad into securing the border. That's kind of a very scary statement there because the border does not need to be militarized or closed down, in my opinion. That's a major turnoff, among other things. But that in particular is kind of just makes me very uncomfortable. And I don't understand where you were coming from with that one.
Well, what do you think should happen?
I think that the reasons that people are coming over here have a lot to do with American imperialism. And by American imperialism, I specifically mean the imperialism done by the United States of America, just so we're being clear. That encroaching in other people's country needs to stop.
Right. I mean, I specifically said that in the presentation. So
no, I heard that part. But I mean,
I don't understand. What do you think we should do with the border? You say it's a turnoff, but you haven't really explained.
I don't think the border should be militarized. I think people should be able to freely travel as
You're breaking up.
I think the right to free movement is a human right. People should be able to freely travel as they need to for safety and other reasons.
Okay. I mean, I'm not sure we're disagreeing.
I could probably explain it better to you in a couple of days. Right now, I'm kind of exhausted.
Okay.
Also, it kind of sounded like you were coming from things from a very pro-police angle, which is weird to me as someone who believes in police abolition. But maybe this is personal. I don't know. Over.
Okay, let's get a couple other thoughts in there. Elizabeth, did you want to speak?
Oh, I put my question in the chat. But no, I don't have anything to contribute to that part of the conversation.
No, just in general. What were you saying? What is you can just say your question.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was just wondering, what are your thoughts about increasing the usage of renewables and the materials required to do so?
Oh, it's great. So in general, right? Because capitalism, right? What has occurred is what we call industrialization is essentially desertification of any particular land. So I live in New York City. New York City was so desired because the land was fertile. But New York City is not known for vegetation. New York City is known for being a concrete jungle, right? And so what that has done is just created a kind of a disruption in the natural flow of how we as humans are supposed to be interacting with nature, right? And so what would we be doing in general? Our feces would be going into the fertilization of the soil. The land then grows and then feeds us further, right? And so my vision for the renewable, but also just kind of uh, overview of the movement of materials, right? Because it's about materials being unused, right? I don't want this anymore. Now it's an unused material, right? There are processes to transform any material into something that is renewable, and or processes to break it down so that it can then be digested into the soil as a way for the plants to grow. So this platform essentially creates a model city in New York City, where we allow one of the islands to become a hotbed essentially for reuse, revitalization, and repurposing of what we call unused materials.
Okay, thank you.
So if you had a
Hello,
chance.
this is Leanna Paddle. I do
Awesome.
have a question.
Yes.
Okay, so I loved everything. Unfortunately, I can only tune in hearing it audio, so I couldn't visually see it. So
Okay.
thank you again for your time and everything. But the only question I had is, if by chance, so there are shelters throughout the United States that house the miners that are crossing over, and it's not like 10, it's thousands. So like I said, my program shelter that I was at, we reunified 32,000 children in only 22 months. And
Wow.
again, we were just one. So I want to know what will be your strategy, and I hope that you develop an approach of how we can, in the long run, help these children be successful. What criteria can they meet to maybe get immigration packages that secure that they will get their residency within 15 months if they comply with going to school, then getting a high school diploma, and looking into colleges and those kinds of things. So these are going to be the foundation of individuals that will be voting very soon and will become a part of the public. And they're coming in by the thousands, and it's very hush because it's a delicate matter, a delicate situation. So I want to know what approach and plan do you hope to create with the coming election? So if this question is proposed to you, what can we hope to find for the future of these children that now will be representing a percentage of what America is in the future?
Right. So in the plan, I mentioned that there's two sides of this, right? So the first part is that I mentioned that our country has caused a lot of the reason that a lot of people are coming here, right? And so they're coming because their nations are disenfranchised by us. Okay, so we have to be responsible for that, as well as ensure that our immigration process is being adhered to, right? Because we want to make sure that what we agree to, regardless of whatever it is, whatever we agree to is the immigration flow that needs to be respected, for any country, and especially our own. So first, the those who are here. So that's the children, that's the adults, and those especially who don't have anybody, right? Because there's those, right? Um, we have to essentially create a new network of, number one, orphanages. When I say orphanages, I am espousing essentially a campus where those who are able to support essentially a campus for children are able to do that. And then secondly, increasing employment for people who work in your office, for example, so that you can, continue to expand upon how quickly you reunite families. And then, thirdly, we have, kind of a greater work as a country to really think about what do we see as immigration, right? How fast should people be coming in? How slow should people be coming in, right? We don't have a standard that we've agreed on, and so therefore there's all these opinions, right? So if we create a standard, then from that standard we can create all of all the other things. So it's a threefold approach to deal with those who are already here, those who are coming, and then finally our own understanding of ourselves as people who are deciding what our nation's immigration flow should be.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I think that is a good response. At the moment, I think that's a great answer. I do believe that you do have a plan in place in regards to that great question. How many people is appropriate versus it's reached a max of whatever a year would look like where it's just too many. I think that would be very difficult to really control, but that is a good goal. Especially since, like I said, there's already thousands of shelters. So I don't think more would need to be created because we have children that have been in the shelter within like an entire year because they don't have any family in the US. So I think what I'm trying to ask, which again, you don't have to answer now, but maybe just keep in mind as they will affect us all, is if you were a child that came to the US, you don't have any knowledge of English, what can the president do for you in the next 4 years? So that's the only question I just wanted to just throw out there. So again, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And I do support this party all the way. Thank you.
Thank you. So did you hear the part about the campuses? Did you not like that idea, or did you like that idea, or you wanted more? Or?
I do like the idea, but there's already so many campuses that exist that house the children. So I don't think it's the problem is the number of shelters that are out there. It's a matter of when they get out. When the children are out, they go to family that also doesn't know the language. Some don't even have any education. They can't even write their names. So how can they help the children who even enroll in high school properly when they themselves don't even know the language? So they need more help. These children need more help because they're coming to very little already. And then they choose to work because they don't want to stay in high school. They don't want to go to school. They don't know the language. So it's a matter of not so much the campuses, but what do we do how can we help the kiddos gain, for example, residency within a reasonable amount of time frame so they're not just 10, 15 years here and they're still working physical because they couldn't get a social and thrive and get an education and participate and progress mentally. They're only contributing physically. They're the people that are cutting the grass, that are working hard, cleaning after people and getting $2 an hour. Right. Those will be them. Those will be those children. Can you do me a favor? Because they don't have any other energy.
I really like your ideas. And obviously you're somebody who's on the ground with some real experience. Can you please shoot me an email at info@davi.com and we can have a further conversation about, kind of some of the nuances and intricacies that you see that I can't see because, I'm doing what I'm doing.
Absolutely. I'll be happy to.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Of course.
Are there any more questions? Once again, please go to the website and do your vote, and we can have a tabulation before we head out tonight. So no more questions?
Chanel, Dads.
Oh. I'll just keep this one short. It's something that I noticed. I like that you have a grand plan for the country and that you want to restructure it. I have some issues with how, but I like that you're trying. My issue is, how are you going to go about that restructuring when what you're asking for will require a massive change to the Constitution and like changes to several laws that you can't get done in 4 years without having a massive amount of support within Congress and the House of Representatives within Congress and also several state legislators.
Okay. So what part of what I proposed requires congressional approval?
The voting system, changing
No,
how we vote
the
to be
people
something
decide
that
that.
happens every 4 months. Yeah,
People,
that requires
the states
change.
actually decide that, and the states get their power from the people. So my point here is that yes, I appreciate that you can see the grand plan, right? I am I could go into the specifics about all the details about how the nuances work, but what I want us to have an ideal, right? Because I don't think we have an ideal right now. We just kind of like keep complaining about the stuff we don't like, but we don't have an ideal and we don't stick to walking towards that ideal. And so therefore the ideal doesn't come because we're pointing the finger and getting mad at whatever else. So if we have an ideal, then all the things that are necessary for that ideal to become manifested in our reality have the energy, have the focus, have the possibility of being something greater. Because right now we don't do that, So I'm doing a presidential campaign, but I'm also asking Americans to really just think differently about the possibility of what it means to be an American. Because when I say I'm running for president of America and leader of the free world, I'm really more focused on the leader of the free world part. Because if you think about this in a larger perspective of the globe, right, we don't, we are the only country where you can just be who you want to be, which means we're defining what it means to be a free human. So if we aren't engaged in that conversation, who is? See what I'm saying? So my work here is just to have us have an ideal that we're moving towards, and the speed we can determine based on how often we allow this ideal to be what drives us.
Okay, fair enough.
Thank you. Okay, so if there's no more questions, I'll hop into the results and see what you guys said. Um, go, go. Here's your page. Nice. Oh, no one responded. Well, no one responded, then I can't do it. Okay. Well, is there anything else, you guys?
Um,
Just, just thank you again so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
okay. I believe Matthew had a question regarding capital punishment.
Okay.
But your position was on that, I think.
Where's your question, Matt? Am I missing it somewhere?
Well, he apparently missed half of this conversation. So we had, so he basically messaged me an answer, whatever. I don't know whether, which
Yeah, I mean, I
specific,
would just need some more, I would need some more clarity on what he's talking about to
yeah.
answer that fully.
Capital punishment means the death penalty.
So tell me, what's the question? Do I believe in
What
it?
is your position on, yeah?
Um, what I will say about that is, I think we need to look at the entire criminal justice system and what it means to rectify um, for someone. Okay. Yeah. Um, Revenge is different than creating new peace, right? And so if the death penalty is seek for revenge, then it's actually just going to cause more disruption and more harm to not only the victim, the imprisoned person, but the family, right? Because they have to go watch this horrific thing happened. I mean, I can't even imagine doing that or wanting to do that. So for me, this is more a more robust conversation about how we as Americans think about rectifying and addressing what we find as just to address things. But I don't see that as my decision.
Okay. Yeah, honestly, I'm actually a student at the University of Texas, and I'm actually a legal history major. And when it comes to issue to the death penalty, I noticed in other states they codified their state constitutions that address those issues, the death penalty specifically, like I think in the state of Hawaii, their state constitution disallows it, and instead of executing someone, they just opt for a life sentence instead, I think.
Okay.
As opposed to the, typical as opposed to paying taxes for things like lethal injections and all that. I think this is something that the states could specifically address without it having to be addressed on the federal level, technically. Um,
Any I've never seen another presidential candidate ever present their vision on a PowerPoint like this. I did that because, I do it out of the love I have for humanity, the love I have for Earth. And, I would love to hear your thoughts just about the presentation in general. Did it land well for you, Janelle? Yeah.
It could have done without the music. The music was a little distracting.
Okay, so I have a version with and without the music. I tried you guys with the music.
Okay.
and for those of you who haven't heard it or hasn't been watching this entire conversation, this whole event's been recorded. So once we post this on the Green Party to social media, y'all could just go back and rewatch it, so to speak.
So it'll be on the Green Party of Texas's Facebook.
Well, I had to figure out how to retrieve the recording. It's all in it. Well, once the event is ended and once it's finished recording, it gets put in some archive thing, and we had to retrieve the audio, the video from each event.
Question for Chanel. So um if I offered the musical version versus the non-musical version, because that's also what I could do, right? I could also just offer both. So do you think that people would choose the silent version or the musical version?
Well, I think you have a very powerful speaking voice and you can command attention with the way that you talk. So I don't think the music is necessary. But that's
Okay.
just me personally.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
No
Yeah.
So,
problem.
anybody
Also
else?
wanted to ask
Oh,
you
go
one
ahead.
more thing.
Mhm.
So, have you taken the time to look at what the recognition requirements are that the PTSD sent you already?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in this for almost 4 months now.
Because like you should try to be working toward that as well. You have a really cool vision, but in order for people to see that, you need to be working toward those recognition requirements that I'm pretty sure you know what they are or have been sent to you by now. No?
Yeah, yeah. I
Okay,
mean,
cool.
there's a whole thing going on. The states have different requirements than the national. There's just a whole thing, a lot going on. So it's right now it's just about me getting more volunteers to really tackle each state for the specificities that each one of them need. Yeah,
Okay, if you say so. I was just kind of worried there.
yeah.
Well,
Do you think Houston will be open to this? Any groups you think would be open to having a conversation? I would love to connect with Houston.
Um, Alfred would be a very good person to ask about that. Who's active in the Houston Greens?
Okay.
Well, technically the Harris Greens, because that's the county Houston is.
Okay. Okay. And Austin, any?
Um, we're actually we're actually in the process of trying to get all reactivate Travis County. Most of our local groups in Texas, most of them are inactive.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Unfortunately, uh, the existing chapters we do have, it's actually pretty difficult to sustain them because we have like no more than two people or at least under 10 people managing each one, and it's kind of, difficult. Like nearly half of these organizers don't always get the support they need in their roles. Like, for example, I live in Tarrant County. For
Mhm.
example, there's only just me and one other, person,
Mhm.
and it's actually pretty difficult, coordinating stuff like this when half the membership is saying that uh,
Okay. Well, whatever
uh,
it takes, to connect with folks in Texas. I'm really glad you guys took the time to join me this evening and provide some feedback for my campaign plan. I look forward to connecting with you further over these next couple of this next year.
okay.
So this is just the first one. I know it's a small group, but you guys are the kernels that are going to change the world. Honestly, we have a very exciting moment in our nation right now, and all it takes is for you guys to take the light and share it with other people. So once again, please feel free to visit bydavi.com. Please join us and volunteer. We definitely need volunteers in the biggest state, Texas. So, and I'm looking forward to connecting with you guys further. So, have a great night. And with that, thanks again, Matt.
Okay. All right. All right. Have a nice evening, everyone. Let me see. Oh, that's Friday.